right. Well, greetings, everybody. Welcome once again to the Rec.poker podcast, sponsored as always by Running Aces Casino, Racetrack, and Hotel, and the great website AMP. And normally I say the great website AMP, but we really have to say it this time because the great website AMP's owner, Mark Pershawn, is joining us for the episode. So we're going to chat with Mark as well as the whole panel, because in this chats edition, we are going to look back on the past 12 months. We're looking at it kind of like a year in review. I know it doesn't sync up with the calendar, but it syncs up with the Rec.poker calendar because we launched the new website last July. So we're going to kind of look at what's happened over the past year, celebrate some things, talk a little bit about what's coming up, but just kind of hang out and see where everybody's at on that sort of stuff. First, we're going to introduce the panel. My name is Steve Fredland. I go by Rec.poker Steve in the Poker Stars home game. And I found a quote that isn't ascribed to anybody, but I love it for our discussion tonight. It says, "Make this year so amazing that last year gets jealous."
Oh, I like that, Steve. Well, I'm not used to going first in this little round off, but I'm Jim Reed, Bluffsterini in the home game, and you can find out about me and other members of the Wrecking Crew by going to rec.poker/crew. And I'm here with a quote from Benny Binion: "Trust everyone, but always cut the cards."
And I'm John Somsky, also known as Poker Geek MN everywhere. And I have a quote from the former WSOP, or maybe he was at Bellagio, but he was a tournament director, since then retired. "To be a poker champion, you must have a strong bladder."
That's true, man. I think that's a good point. All right, well, we'll bring in Mark here in a second, but just so you guys know, we're going to chat, but then after that, we're going to talk about some of the things going on in the community beyond what we talked about. So the Rec.poker weekly tournament at Running Aces, we're going to be announcing a few details about that. Really excited about that. We've got our road trip coming up to Florida at the end of August. We've got our home game winners who won pins this last week. I know you're all sitting on pins and needles to find out who won pins. We'll talk about that, some other stuff going on. But welcome to those who are premium members sitting in on the chat. If you don't know, if you're a premium member, you can sit in on these podcasts, engage, ask questions, all that kind of fun stuff. So make sure you do that if you are a premium member. But with that, let's first of all introduce the great one. I know he loves, in his humility, being introduced as the great one. And I know I usually hold that for John Somsky, but you guys are both IT professionals, so I think you both qualify. So Mark Pershawn, welcome to the Rec.poker podcast.
Hey, thanks, Steve. Yeah, I'll pretend to mind being called great and all these accolades. I'll
Nice.
feign humility. How about that?
Yeah, I know. Well, you've been on the show obviously before, and you are a huge part of what we're doing at Rec.poker and beyond, building all these websites. So I guess, tonight in many ways is sort of celebrating the work that you've done. I know we're celebrating kind of the last year of the relaunch of the website, but you were instrumental in that whole thing, and we love it. So first of all, thank you for all the work that you're doing for Rec.poker.
Well, you're welcome, and it's truly a pleasure. You and I connected on Twitter, I think a few years ago now, just because, I was a fan and liked the podcast and liked what you were doing, and so really happy to be able to look back now and see that we've built kind of a bigger thing together, and there's a lot of runway ahead. So it's a lot of fun.
Oh, I love that. I love the runway ahead. We're going to make last year jealous as good as it was last year.
Yeah, there we go.
So tonight's just kind of an open panel discussion. Let's just think about, man, what's happened in the last year? Because I know I'm not naturally good at doing that. I'm always thinking about what's next? We could do this. And I don't often take time to reflect on what's happened over the next year. So I think this is just an opportunity for us to talk about what stands out over the last year. And maybe the obvious place to start is the website. Maybe, especially Jim and Mark, you guys have been really focused on working on the website. Maybe I'll just start with you guys, kind of talk about what stands out from you guys over the last year after launching this new website.
Well, I think, Steve, you said it best at the beginning where you said, Rec.poker is so much more than a website. The website is really just a tool for our community to use, to exchange ideas, to share learning, and to hang out together. And I think it's just so much better at that than the old website. I'm just so happy with how well everything comes together. The calendar is so organized and integrated. You can join the groups and they're linked up to the forums. And I just think, like, as a tool, it's just so much better at sharing what we're all about and putting people in touch with other people of similar interests. I know Mark just makes it all look easy, waving his magic wand around there. But for the uninitiated like me, it's just great to see it from the outside. Mark, what's been sort of I know it's been a big year working together. We're in meetings all the time, working stuff, putting things together. What feels like gratifying to you? What do you look at it now and say, boy, I'm so glad this is going the way it is?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think to your point, none of this works without the community aspect of it. A website without any people there, is just some code sitting on a server somewhere. So that's kind of the biggest thing, is to see there actually be interaction and, facilitating the different events and, the different podcasts and guests and forums and all the things that go into it. It's a lot of fun to see. From a technical standpoint, I feel like last year, even during COVID, we were like, let's make a site that does all these things that we want it to do. And I feel like we did that. We got a lot of these things, these components kind of working together, events and forums and groups and search for other members and connect with people. But then I feel like this year, specifically in the months of June and July, we kind of took it to the next level. And now, rather than just let's get everything to work, let's get it to work really well. So I feel like everything is much tighter and more user friendly. And I think it should encourage a lot of growth and, just make it a lot more, even more fun to hang out at rec.poker.
Yeah. And I think like one thing just on that note, like I was in there and someone asked me, is there a way I can get like notifications when the event I want to join is coming up? And like, you can even just go there and export the event right into your Google Calendar and stuff like that. Like, it's just the technological advance has been amazing, Mark. So really impressed. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, so if you haven't been out to rec.poker for a while, it's always been good, functional website, but yeah, it really has gotten more crisp with the work that these guys have done. So I really want to encourage you to get out there, or if you're a member and you haven't really perused the website for a while, it might be worth your time to kind of go through there. It's a lot easier to use. It's a lot more integrated. I think you're really going to enjoy that. And I think the one question I really have is, obviously there's a number of training websites out there. And we don't classify ourselves as like a pure training website. We are a community website that does training. So there's Solve for Why, there's Poker Coaching, there's all these websites, Learn Pro Poker, the ones that they're great, and we endorse them and we have partnerships with them and we use their video for study groups and different things like that. So we love them, but their focus is on training. Ours is a little bit different. We have training elements, but our focus is, like we've been talking about, community, building relationships. So I'm curious, how does that play into, what are the challenges? What are the opportunities? How does that play into actually building a website with a community mindset, beyond just having forums? As you think about integrating community into this, how does that change what we do and how are we doing it?
Yeah, the hard thing for me, and Mark will tell you, is that I'm kind of a control freak. It's hard for me to like let go and not micromanage certain things. And that extends to the membership too. So like when we started, this is what we wanted to do. Let's build it in this rigid structure, and then let's like force the membership to adhere to it. And I think just philosophically, the change to let's just follow the passion of our members. If members are forming groups about this kind of thing, let's work in that direction. Let's try and find a time that fits with the people that are actually taking part of it. Let's just organically grow around our membership and the interests of the crowd, and just doing less telling and more asking. And I think just like building a website with that in mind as well. That was, and also just recognizing that not everything happens on the website. Like Rec Poker is bigger than a website. So we've got a free YouTube channel where we put a lot of our free videos out there. That's not, we tried to do everything with the website, and I think it's better that we're kind of listening to the community and streamlining things effectively like that.
Yeah, Mark, what do you think of that question there? How do you, as a programmer, Jim's sort of looking at it from the user perspective, the community perspective, and I know you are too, but you're also, typing HTML or something. You're doing that sort of thing to actually make things magically appear. So how does that work in your world?
Yeah, it's been cool because in the last year we've had to restructure things because of growth, which is a great problem to have. I love solving those sorts of problems.
Me too.
We had to restructure how we delivered content, like new learning with partners content and new, videos and podcasts and stuff, because there was so much of it available. Every day there was like one or two things that were dropping on the website. And so we had to kind of reconfigure how we're doing that. and Jim touched on it too with like the groups. We have enough people in rec.poker now where there's different groups kind of naturally forming. Like one that just comes to mind because I was working on it earlier is Pet Vet's travel group.
Mm-hmm.
And people interested in traveling for rec poker trips. And I know there's been the rec poker road trips, and that's kind of, it seems like there's maybe some momentum around that. So for me, I have to try and, go behind the scenes, and I in an ideal world, I want to be the only person that has to think about what's going on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make it as easy as possible for all the users and, even the panel here to it just be an awesome tool that connects everything. And so that's kind of my goal. But I really enjoy trying to solve the puzzles and make it look that easy. That's the goal anyway.
Well, that's one of the things that I know I love working with you about, because you are a problem solver. I mean, there's a lot of people that can program and code and do exactly what you tell them to do, and you're willing to do that. But I mean, you're also looking at like, how do we optimize this? And you understand community. My God, you flew up to Minnesota from Texas to go to Rec Poker Day at Running Aces. Like,
Right.
you get it. You understand community. So that's why it's so great to work with you. And I know, you've gotten other projects through this. And if anybody out there's, we didn't want to make this commercial, but if anybody out there looking for a website designer, I can't endorse Mark enough. So give him a shout. If you don't know how to get a hold of him, get a hold of me and I'll connect you. But I want to share Paul Parker, one of our premium members in the chat, said community nails it. Website brings us all together. Nothing else like it out there. A place to hang out with a great poker community. I explore it every day and am making good poker friends. And I tell you, yeah, I mean, I see Jim's kind of touching his heart. I do too. Like whenever I get those emails, like, yeah, man, I'm building relationships. I'm making friendships. Like I love that so much. Like that is music to my ears. So I'm curious, and I'm just kind of rambling here. You guys will have to interrupt. But as we're still kind of on the website topic, I'm going to put John on the spot a little bit, just because I know John's been in the poker industry forever. He's an ambassador for Ante-Up magazine. You've seen a million websites, you've seen a million forums, you've kind of been there, done that, training sites, whatever. Kind of where do you, not ranking rec poker, but how do you sort of characterize rec.poker, in the midst of the poker industry? Like what is the niche that you see as you're looking at it from a usability perspective, user perspective, member perspective?
For me, the main thing is we always talk about community, but there's a quality to that community. It's that we are accepting of one another. Our goal is to learn. That means everyone who comes is willing to have good conversations over what the right play is. No one assumes that they have all of the answers or that they can't learn from anyone else. So right now we're still in that sweet spot where, just about every member we have is a great person that is part of this community. And other communities like 2+2 was the biggest poker forum for the longest time. But over time, as it's grown, it's become quite toxic. Mm-hmm. So, and you get a lot of signal to noise ratio. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of junk on those forums to get any content of value. So I think right now we have a great community that's full of good information, and we enjoy sharing that with each other in a non-threatening way.
Oh, I love that. I love hearing that. We didn't plan that, so that was good, John. That was a great commercial. I think, I think, we're not a platform for people to share their knowledge and, and just ramble on and just to post anything about. I mean, we didn't just create a platform for people to spew, right? A lot of times it's just, okay, we're creating a platform, Twitter, Facebook, 2+2, all these things. They're ways for people to share whatever they want to share. We are building a community. And so that comes with a different level of responsibility, different type of member. And so, yeah, we've said this before. We've had some tough conversations early on with people that just sort of viewed it as a platform to spew. I mean, you don't belong here. That's okay. There's plenty of places for you to do that. And so I think, props to the new Cleveland baseball team. We'll be guardians, right? We're the guardians of community in a sense. And so I love hearing what you said, John, because I think it sort of is almost a self-selecting sort of thing where people come in if they spew a little bit, they're not really accepted. People kind of ignore them and then they move on. So sometimes we don't even need to get involved. So I love hearing that for sure. So the website really is, it's a platform for a community, and I love what you guys are doing. And anything else about the website? I kind of want to look at some other things that happened over the last year, but anything else from a website perspective that you guys want to share that you're pretty excited about what's happened over the last year? Jim?
I guess just how it's all tied in together now, and how, just go to the homepage. You should be able to find so much right there. What's coming up today, with videos we released recently, and just use it as a tool to connect. That's the real thing. Connect with ideas, to connect with people. That's my big picture.
Love it. Mark?
Yeah, to what Jim said, just go to the homepage. Right up at the top, you can jump into, kind of the big hitters, different ways to engage, videos, forums, players, groups rather. But then right below that, there's a little area called This Week, where you can see what's going on for this week. I mean, every event in terms of, whether there's like a hand history review or a podcast recording or Twitch stream, you can just see at a glance what's going on. And then below that, all the learning with partners stuff. There's so much content on the site that I definitely recommend folks frequently check out what's going on, because there's some high level stuff going in there. And a lot of it's available for, just anyone coming through the site. And then, of course, there's even more for premium members.
I love it. And one thing I'd point out about the website too, that a lot of people, they don't know about it, they don't take advantage of it, is how John and us have kind of tied this into to the home games with the website. So if you're playing the home game and somebody comes up, somebody named Quark, there's somebody named Quark on there, like Quark on there. You can, and you're wondering, who is this guy? Like, you can actually go to the rec.poker website, go to the members area, and you can search for Quark. Now, if they're playing in the home game, they have to have a free community membership, which means Quark will show up. Now, if that person chose not to make their information public, you won't see their first name, you won't see their last name, you won't see any information. But sometimes people make that stuff public. And so if you're like, man, I kind of like how this guy plays, but I want to actually address them by their first name, you can actually go there and say, oh, it's Paul. And now in the chat, you can put a note that it says, hey, this is Paul, on PokerStars. And you can start saying, hey, Paul, nice hand or whatever. And that's how relationships are built. I see that all the time in the home games where people are like, hey, Billy, great play. I love how you did that. And like later I'll talk to that person like, no, I just met them in the home game. I've never met that person. Like, they're building relationships. So I think that's a cool tool for the website as well, that you can actually start to put names to the usernames. So I think that's a pretty cool integration that we have. Well, cool. So let's talk about other stuff over the last year. Anything else kind of standing out for you guys over the last year in the world of rec poker that's like, man, that was a pretty sweet moment or experience or whatever? Jim?
I mean, we just got to talk about, since we're talking about home games, we got to talk about the home game expansion plan.
Yeah.
Maybe plan isn't right.
It wasn't a plan. It was COVID, unless that was planned.
Yeah. No, just how much that's erupted. And I don't think we really credited how much community building goes in through those actual home games themselves. Yeah. The free home games that anyone can play, but people take it seriously. People are really trying their best to win that pin. Some of us with more success than others. And there's a real camaraderie developing in those home games. And you're right, man. Like, people have made real friends. I've made real friends with people, and not just Canadians. With people that
mostly.
The cream rises to the top, John. What do you want to say? But just like it's really it's a social tool. I'm really impressed with that. So I just want to say thanks again to John for taking that out of his sleeping schedule for the last year.
Well, and even to that point, like it's so funny. I like some Canadians as well. Paul says in the chat, but like even to the point where we did like the Dakota Poker Tour. We went up there and like, we met people that we'd only played with online. Like, what's your username? Oh, that's you. And we did the same thing, the Rec Poker reunion. Like, we're all standing around in a circle, introducing ourselves by our username. Oh my gosh, that's you. You're Captain Walleye. That's pretty sweet. So yeah, that's pretty fun. All right, anything else standing out, guys?
I think the recce's.
Yeah.
That we had at the beginning of the year, just everyone excited about sharing and seeing if they got their name mentioned because they came in next to last the most number of times or won the most or whatever the case may be.
I like that you called that one out, the Ricky Bobby Award, right? If you didn't
Yeah.
last, I believe Randy won that one.
Yeah, it was Roadster. That's right. Yeah, that's
That was
awesome.
super fun. I think we have big plans for that. And I think, Colin Anderson, Danny Schneider helped put that thing together, helped MC it. Shout out to those guys. But that was super fun. We had all these pros that submitted videos. And that was a great highlight too, for sure. I think,
I guess.
or go ahead. Mark, did you have something?
The thing that stands out to me is the live events coming back. Obviously, we had Rec Poker Day. What was that? Late February last year.
St. Oswald
just before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that'll come to be known as like Black Friday or something again in the poker world, because it was a big shift. It threw a bunch of people online and into the online home game, and I think that helped build our community a lot. But it's fun to look to what's coming, and that's probably where you're transitioning there, Steve. But the live events and the road trips is really cool to be able to meet up with people that you've connected with online.
Yeah, the road trips are kind of the next thing. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the home games, if people stay engaged or start going back live or whatever. But the road trips have been so fun. Oh my gosh, down in Iowa, John, of course, ran deeper than anybody in the main event. He had to outdo me. Thanks a lot, John. But
I didn't win the tournament, so I did not win.
But 31st out of 900 or something, not too shabby. But
32nd. But
32nd was it? Oh, sorry, I'm already bragging you up.
Yeah,
I thought you were better than that. We had a great turnout, had a great time down there. Despite my getting Lyme's disease the last few days of the thing and being miserable, but it was a great time. So yeah, more road trips. We're going to keep going on that. So I love that one. Jim, did you have something else you wanted to share?
The one thing that I'm really enjoying are the Saturday study groups. That was something that we just started. We wanted to give people another chance that if they're not in the, Monday, and if they're not in the weekday evening time zone, to come and get together and get a piece of some of this. And there's been a great response. People from not just the Rec Poker Premium members, but Learn Pro Poker members are coming into the LPP study group that we're doing. My own group coaching session on Saturdays using Poker Tracker to review hands and databases for folks has been great. Just getting more of this like group discussions. We're having like 3 or 4 different kind of engaged group discussion events every week, and taking on different time zones, and it just feels like there's something for everybody there. It's really exciting.
Yeah, and I think related to that, one thing that sticks out to me is just how it feels like everybody that's involved at a pretty deep level is finding their niche, has kind of found their niche over the last year. It used to be, we had one podcast a week and we were doing the chats thing and we had 7 of us on the panel thing, and that was great. But then we added a second podcast that was more focused on strategy, focused on the forums. And, some of us we like the chats thing more. Some of us like the strategy more. And so we kind of split that way as far as who's doing what. And it wasn't strategic. We just said, do whatever you want to do where the life is. But I think John just crushing the home games, and we got Rob really owning the book study, Taylor Twitch, Chris content, Mark website, Andrew affiliates and learning with partners, Jim, you doing all your study groups and the database histories and all that stuff. It's just so fun to see everybody, Pet Vet with the inclusivity piece and the travel piece. And it's just so fun to see everybody kind of finding their niche. And I think what we've done, largely because of what you guys have done on the website too, is just sort of given the freedom for people to find your niche. Like, what do you love to do? What are you passionate about? And then, of course, I've got a TED Talk in 3 days, and I'm talking about how do you become more vibrant in your life. And so this is front of mind, but just what are you passionate about? Go do that. And I think the more that we can equip people to just do what you're passionate about rather than fitting everybody into a single box. But I'm rambling a bit, but just sort of everybody finding their niche in the last year has been so fun to watch.
I got to jump off there for 1 sec, because that's exactly what it's all about here at Rec Poker. I was just talking to, I guess I'm breaking a little news here, our newest member of the Wrecking Crew, Eric Jin, who's coming on board. Binkley, the one and only. You know him in the home game. Might become Binkley in there. He's just a perfect example of someone who's just gotten kind of more involved over the course of the last year and a bit. And he had this idea of how he wanted to do this event, this peel, to play, explain, and learn. And it was just Yeah, man, let's support that. We just built this whole thing in his vision. He's running it every week now, and premium members are welcome to come and join him. And it's just one of those things, like, everyone's come here because they're passionate about bringing something to the world of recreational poker. And we all have our areas that we're passionate about, and Rec Poker's given us a chance to share that passion with the rest of the poker community. And I think, like, that's the gift that we miss here sometimes, is that we're all here. We're here legitimately doing what we love.
Yeah.
And so I got to thank you, Steve, just for bringing me in and giving me a chance to share what I love about poker with everybody. It's helped me a lot, not only as a poker player, but just as a happier person. And I think as like a better friend and a better person. So I really do have to thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you guys have done the same for me. Like, I'm not doing a lot of this stuff. Like, that's the same. Like, I'm doing what I really love to do. You know, I love to hear people's stories and kind of get behind there and kind of build relationships that way. So it works for all of us, right? And I think that's a healthy community, is letting everybody kind of find their niche and helping them and let them just kind of explode in that niche. So that's super cool. Well, I've got a few other things. Anything standing out for you guys that you want to share still? I've got a few more things that I'll just kind of go through these pretty quick. And if you want to stop and pause on them, we can. But I was making a list on my way home from disc golfing today, and I'm like, oh man, what are some of the things? I'm like, there's a long list of things. But you know, some of the things that really stood out to me again over the past year, the Canadian invasion. Like, the home games are one thing, but just like everywhere, I saw at one point the top 6 players in the home game, the only 6 players left were all Canadians or something. I love that. So Jim and his Grolsch and Pet Vet and Stewie and all these folks up north are really cranking on some things. So that's pretty fun. I know I still owe the O Canada thing. So apparently there are some plans. So we're going to Vegas in whatever, September, October. So I think there's some plans being made to do the old Canada thing. More great partnerships. We continue to add. People are loving what Rec Poker is doing. And again, it's not about us individually, but collectively as a community, people are noticing this is something different. And so we're getting all these partnerships with people that are saying, you know, I think this would be good for poker. I think this is something that we're happy promoting, partnering with. It feels safe because they know that we're not going to be a bunch of idiots making them look bad. So that's been fun. The Twitch thing, to see that start to explode and really find now Taylor's really going to own that thing and run with that thing, twitch.tv/recpoker. That's going to be super fun to see go. Jim, did you have something there?
Oh, no, I'm just really excited about that. I was talking to Taylor about that just yesterday, and we've got some big plans. People, go to twitch.tv/recpoker right now and subscribe and join the channel there, because he's going to be giving away prizes. He's going to be doing a lot of in-depth strategy stuff on the new Twitch channel, and there's going to be some prizes for the first few people to sign up. So when you hear this, go over and sign up right now. Trust me.
Oh, nice. Another thing, you know, it dawned on me the other day that this is the 299th episode of Rec Poker. Like, that's crazy. I mean, we're not planning any big 300 or whatever, maybe at 500, but just like, that's insane. Like, that's insane to me that we've had 300 episodes of this thing. And I'm so delighted with where we're at now and how we're doing things. So that's fun. I'll try to speed it up a little bit. We had the Fareed Jatton training, where a bunch of us were trained by Fareed Jatton, who was ranked like 3rd in the world at the time, just a stud of a player. Martin Jacobson, who's won the main event, he joined him for a few sessions. So that was a pretty good highlight from the year. One of my favorite, we had a number of great interviews, but Veronica Brill, I just had so much fun. Maybe part of it was that John and I were in Iowa in the same room, and it was just sort of fun just to be there. But she just made me laugh the entire time. We had our new logo launched, which super excited about the logo. That's super fun. Merchandise, we were able to start offering different colors, and now all these different color schemes are out there. You got Jim wearing his Pittsburgh stuff, and I know I get now. So Jim Gibson wants Purdue colors, and he's telling me they're not Steelers colors, they're Purdue colors. I don't know the difference. But he wanted to make that very clear. But that's fun because now people are ordering red hats and white sweatshirts and all that stuff. So that was fun. I'm almost done. And kind of the last thing that I thought of was just the Discord. People out there real-time railing. There's maybe a handful of people that are really active, like when they're all in the Sunday grind, they're all like, they're watching each other's tables and they're like, hey man, nice hand and way to go. And that's been super fun too. So Those are the things that came into my mind after disc golfing in 93-degree heat.
Well, you reminded me of two more. The first, the second podcast, doing the forums podcast every week. I mean, that has just been such a freaking blast. And just being able to get together with the panel and talk strategy, having guests on every once in a while. And I just, the fact that premium members can come on the show and meet Rec Poker Nation and get introduced and talk about their own forum posts. I just think that's so cool. And we have so much fun with that. So if you're a premium member, I mean, if you're not a premium member, still go and post your hand histories in the forum. But if you're a premium member, reach out if there's one that you're really interested in, you want to come on the show. I do email folks from time to time and say, hey, I saw this post and I thought this would be a great one for the show, but don't wait for the invitation. Reach out and let me know. I'm having so much fun with that. I can't
It's too bad Jim doesn't have any fun doing anything. It's kind of a bummer. Well, so that's kind of the list that I had. I don't know if you guys that sparked anything, or if you guys have any other ideas, but the goal of this episode is really, I know I do a lot of vision casting. I do a lot of looking forward. We have a lot of guests. We're always talking about where we're trying to go and kind of community we're trying to build. And I know we touched on that a bit today, but this was really about, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate what's been done. The website is sort of an easy way to mark time on that. But man, it's been a pretty cool year, you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been great.
Great.
Yeah. Well, thanks to you guys. And again, I say thanks, and you guys say thanks to me. But at the end of the day, when it's a community and you love what you're doing, you all just kind of do it, right? It just kind of takes a village to do this stuff. And as long as we love what we're doing, it's going to keep cruising forward. So part of me is like, we've seen really good growth, and obviously growth is a good thing. Part of me really hopes that we can figure out a way through the website or whatever, as we continue to grow and get more exposure and the poker world really opens up to us. How do we continue to make the big small? How do we continue to allow people to have avenues to build relationships where they're not just a number? So I think that's going to be our challenge probably for the next year, is try to figure out, as the numbers, continue to grow, how do we make sure that people aren't just lost in the shuffle, that they're connected and that they're building relationships? So I think that is our next challenge. All right. So with that, I'll wrap it up there. All my pontificating about the joy that was the last year. But Jim, maybe what we'll do is we'll play the Jonathan Little spot, and we'll come back, and then we'll do the home game results and talk a little bit about some of the things that are specifically going on in Rec Poker.
Have you ever wondered whether you should call a preflop raise or 3-bet instead?
All the time.
What do you do when you have a flush draw? Do you raise it, or do you just call? What do you do with ace-king when you miss the flop? Are you tired of guessing about what the right play is with your particular hand? Well, my name is Jonathan Little, and I am a 2-time World Poker Tour champion and creator of PokerCoaching.com, where we offer over 1,000 interactive hand quizzes where you play a hand and then get real-time feedback from our world-class pros. Don't guess and don't stress. Just register for your free account at PokerCoaching.com/recpoker right now.
Nice. Thanks to Jonathan Little for being a partner with us on the show. That is fantastic. And I know Jim is smiling because he's reading the chat. I'll just go ahead and go there. So first of all, I've got to remind Veronica to send those pink ears. Yeah. So we haven't seen the pink ears yet, and now Paul's idea is maybe the pink ears plus O Canada together. I'm not sure I'm confident enough to pull that off. And I'm not much of a drinker, but maybe if I just drink a whole bunch, maybe I can then do all of
liquid courage, huh?
Yeah. Come at us, Grolsch. We need a liquid sponsor. Grolsch, come at us. Yeah. Come at us, Grolsch. We're listening.
I am quite certain that it would be worth seeing you sing O Canada in Veronica Brill's Little Bunny Ears.
Maybe if she's there, we can do a duet. Maybe you'll let me do it.
Oh, yeah. There you go. She's got that Edmonton connection. I love it.
But I'm not sure. I like the idea of letting premium members come into the podcast recording, but maybe we shouldn't allow them to chat ideas
about you
on the live stream. This may backfire really, really fast. So, that's pretty fun. Well, let's talk a little bit about what else is going on around Rec Poker Nation. A couple of real quick things that I teased at the outset. So Running Aces, we are in regular conversation with them. I know a lot of you folks are Minnesota based. Not everybody is, but Rec Poker has partnered with Running Aces from the beginning. And so it is a home casino for a number of folks that are listening. So if you're wondering, why do you keep talking about Running Aces? Well, there's a fair number of Minnesotans that are interested in this. They are starting tournaments again. The last thing that we have heard is they are launching them on August 10th. I've been told that we can say this with maybe a caveat that things could possibly change. But it looks like they're going to run a couple tournaments a week. One of those is going to be co-branded as the Rec Poker Weekly Tournament. That is right now planned to be the Tuesday morning 10 a.m. tournament. What I've been told, and again, this could change, is that'll be a $130 tournament. And what we are going to do is we are going to keep track of who wins those things, who cashes in those things, and we are going to have a point system developed. John will not have to be involved with that. We may leverage his formula, but this will not be a John responsibility thing. But we're going to keep track. And our hope is that we're going to keep track kind of player of the year who in that particular tournament. And what we're also planning on doing is expanding this idea of having a Rec Poker Weekly Tournament to other casinos across the country. And so we are putting together a program. And if you have connections at a casino, or if you want to kind of take the role of building connections with a casino, with the tournament director or the venue operator, or whoever that might be, we can get this to you. So we are trying to put a Rec Poker Weekly Tournament in a bunch of places across the country, and do the same thing, keep track of all the points, so that ultimately we can figure out who are our best Rec Poker live players. So that's something to keep in mind, but that is coming. We are excited. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town the first 3 Tuesdays that this thing starts, so that's a bummer, but that we'll open it up for somebody else can win then the first 3 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, just make it a little possible for someone else to sneak in there. For
Clearly,
weeks.
I win everything. Yeah, so that's coming. So stay tuned. If you want more information, let me know. But I was told we could say this on Monday, July 26th, because it's not going to air until whatever that is, August 3rd. So hopefully that stands. Another thing, so the road trip, we are going to go with Run Good down to Florida. We got a few of us already locked in there. August 23rd to 29th. You don't have to be there the whole time, but if you're interested in flying down there, the flights are pretty cheap, especially from Minnesota, at least down there. You want to go down there for a few days? We got a house. We can let you know kind of what that looks like, but we'd love to have another strong contingent down there. I think we're going to have maybe 6 people, some at the house, some outside of the house, at least down there. So that'll be really fun. And with that, Mr. Somsky, you want to go through some of the home game results, all these people that are waiting to hear their name called?
Absolutely. So this last week started off with our nightly events. Kelly S. 1962-20. Kelly Stork got her 4th nightly victory of the year.
She's a killer.
7. Mark Bloomberg, 4th, also the 4th of the year. Cat Geek 65, Jacob Kiki, got his 6th of the year. That's a 15th lifetime.
God, Jacob.
Mr. Z 6262, William Zakek. Zasek?
Oh, I don't know. We found a new isnma for you here.
Anyway, William.
First one, so let's go.
Got his very first one. If you want to let me know how to pronounce your name, go ahead. Email me.
Say, John,
send a voice clip.
you're not going to get the pronounciations right until they have like at least 3 wins or so.
Yeah, you got to win a few more.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Jacob Kiki was at least at 6 or 7 before I got that right. So,
well, when him and his dad were winning everything, I finally just had to ask him, like, how do you say this thing? Because we're saying this thing 2 or 3 times a week.
Then we have Les Paul 99, Michael Pinciero.
That's
got
awesome.
His first win. So we're talking about a lot first-time wins here. DJ Trousers,
He's
James Taylor, first win.
Oh yeah, we were so close to that one, Steve. Isn't that the one where we were all on the final table? You and I were like
I
top 4. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure we were talking about the same tournament.
But he was crushing. He was. Yeah, we were at the final table together, which is super fun. It's been a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember seeing that and thinking to myself, Steve has no chance.
No. I just kept laddering up, baby.
Yeah. Right? No, it's true though. DJ Trousers had like 60,000 chips or something. Like it was amazing. Way to go, James Taylor. Nice
Fantastic. Yeah, seemed like a good dude too. We were in the chat, and he's a very good dude. So congratulations.
Nice. And then for another first-time win, Dan 33-14-80 won the mixed practice event.
And I think I know who that is, but if he hasn't gone public there, I probably shouldn't say it, but
Probably
if I
not.
think I know who that is, so congratulations, young man.
Mystery person.
Well, whether or not Steve knows you, I congratulate you. He only congratulates you if he knows you.
I'm
But
only happy
mine is
for people that I know.
unconditional.
It's unconditional.
Okay. Then we have Evil Roy CA, David Westerveld.
Yeah, Dave.
Got
And
his 5th international victory.
his dad, we got his dad in the game too, I
Yeah.
think. John, you replied at the last minute and got him in, and it sounds like he wreaked a little havoc too.
Actually, I got him in, but then I forgot to reply. So Steve was going here. Did you ever get in, or did you just completely ignore you? No, I took care of it, but I didn't tell him.
There's like 4 of us going, all right, let's scramble the jets. Let's get this person in.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure. Yeah, and it sounds like within like a few hands, he was like the chip leader or second in chips or something.
Yeah. And I think he took Dave out too. He took his own son out in the first tournament he was there. Yeah.
Sweet.
Excellent. At least we know they weren't soft playing each other.
Yeah, good point.
Then we have Rick the Good Dog. Rick Rock Omen got his 3rd international victory for the year.
Such a
and then
guy.
Ivor Big One won the daily LPP. That's Learn Pro Poker. So Ivor, whoever you are, you need to contact Jim at rec.poker, and he will get you in touch to get your free month at Learn Pro Poker.
Yes, sir.
So John, Ivor, it's their first LPP win, but do you know if they have other ones? Because I recognize that name.
I know they've played before. I believe I've said it before, so I'm guessing that is not their first victory, but I would, I'll look it up here. I can figure that out fairly quickly.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, because I know that name is always at the table wreaking havoc, so I didn't know if that was their first win overall, but it's their first LPP win. So, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've said the name before, so I doubt.
So free month at LPP, right? That's
it.
So, yeah, email Jim.
That's right. Sweet.
Awesome. And we're getting closer to heads up. The next heads up one too, September 18th. Sweet.
Yeah. Win your way into Marek Madness.
I know you're looking up Ivor.
What was that?
Or anything else on the home games front?
Nope. Did you just mention the heads up September 18th? Okay.
Yeah, I probably screwed it up though.
Well, it's September 18th. No, that is Ivor's very first win.
Really?
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Overdue.
They must.
Yeah,
be
I know.
better
I've
players
seen the
than
name. Maybe he's gotten a number of seconds or something, but that is the very first win.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
he's kind of like probably one of the better players that didn't have a win. That at least I can think of.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Somsky. Well done as always.
Thank you.
Relatively uninterrupted too, I think by all
Relatively.
By our
Well, that's because Mark was here and he's actually polite.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take it.
I actually care what Mark thinks of me, so I'm trying
His best
to give
behavior.
him best behavior. I don't care what you guys think of me. Well, yeah, you didn't have to mention you didn't mention Spike all this week, so
yeah, he's been on a tear.
Too. Well, Jim, what do you have? I know Mr. Jones wasn't able to join us. Maybe you want to give a quick update if there is anything on whether it's book study or seminar or kind of what's coming up.
Yeah, well, this is going to come out, as you say, on Tuesday the 3rd, which means that on Wednesday the 4th, there's the book study with Rob, because it's the first Wednesday of the month. And then that Saturday, I'll be hosting a study group for the Focus. Last month, Keith Monkey System Brandt came on and did a little magic show with GTO Plus, and I'm looking forward to delving a little deeper into some of that stuff and setting up next month. And of course, every day that the podcast comes out, the Chats edition is a Tuesday, and that means that Tuesday night, it's the online play and hang. And I'm hosting almost every week now. That's one of the things that I'm getting more into this year. We're going to bring in some special guests from time to time, maybe a couple pros or poker celebrities or other fun people just to come in and meet the Rec Poker peeps. So any premium members, if it's Tuesday, you'll find me in the OPA during the home games. So come and steal chips with us and have a good time. Yeah,
and just to be clear, if the OPA is kind of a new thing for you, we've had it for a while, but basically you can play the home game or not. You don't have to play the home game, but most people are. But you're not looking at each other's cards, none of that kind of stuff. You're just all on Zoom together, yucking it up. I mean, you can be talking about what's going on in the tournament or whatever, but it's just a hang. It's online play and hang. So it's not like a deep analytical strategy thing usually, right? Some people could take it there, but it's mostly just get to know some of the people, put some faces with names, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's it exactly. And literally just putting faces to names and talking to people face to face, getting to know them. And there is like this group there that shows up most weeks, and we get new folks every week as well. It's just fun to see, to meet new people. I really but you're right, Steve. It's like a fun thing to do. It's more like a hangout than a strategy hour. That's true.
Yep. Well, anything else that we need to share? Anything else going on in Rec Poker Nation that anybody has? A lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff. Like we say all the time, don't feel like you have to do everything, right? It's figure out what you love to do. If you love to hang out, do the OPA. If you love to like roll up the sleeves and dig into the strategy stuff, figure out where next time Keith and Jim are meeting. I mean, kind of figure out what it is that you want to do. You want to read a book and study along? Rob's got the thing for you, so figure out what it is that you love to do, and then do that, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the way to do it. Don't ever let anybody should on you as far as what you should be doing. Do what you want to do.
And if you're listening to this and it sounds like fun, come join us here in the chat while we do the recording. It's a great way to hang out and have some fun in the podcast. For sure. Too.
Love it. Yeah, I love when people are out there. So, all right. Well, good stuff. We will wrap it up there. Thanks, Mr. Prashant, Mark Prashant, website AMP. Hey, I should let you do a quick shout out. What is your website? What is your email? And again, if you didn't write this down or didn't take note of it, get a hold of me and I'll connect you with Mark. But Mark, what is your information?
I'm website Mark in the home game. So that's probably the most important thing, right? No, but website amp.com. That's AMP, like amplify. That's where you can find any information about what I'm able to do as, building websites. That's my full-time job. You keep talking about do what you love. And the things that I love are building websites and playing poker. So being able to build rec.poker is a pretty sweet Venn diagram for me of those two things.
I love that. Brings in the Venn diagram too. Even got a smile on that, right? All the analytics are like, oh yeah, Venn diagram. Love it. Okay, well, Mark, thanks again for being on here. But yeah, Jim, John, as always, thanks for being on here. Paul, Martha in the chat, fantastic having you guys. But if you want to check out, if you're not a community member, go to rec.poker, become a community member. All that means is it's absolutely free. But you can post in the forums. You can read all the stuff. You can really engage in a ton of ways as a free member. Once you're there, if you're thinking, man, I kind of like this, I'd like to get more involved in the content and learn a little bit more as part of this community, you can do it with us. It's $15 a month, but you get $10 off if you use the code RECPOKER. So $5, try it out for a month, see what you think. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. Let us know what you want more of, less of. We crave feedback. So that's kind of the next step. If you're sort of involved and you want to check it out further, do that. But you can also sign up for our newsletter. That's a great way to stay plugged in. If you're looking for ways to support us, you can go to rec.poker/support. And we have all kinds of ways, financial, but otherwise as well. Like subscribe to this podcast. That's huge for us. Like and follow or subscribe or whatever the term is, our YouTube channel. When you see a tweet, retweet us. If you see a Facebook post, like it. Like these are all things that matter if you want to see this community become bigger and kind of grow and become a bigger part of the poker industry because you love what we're doing. So you can support us in a ton of different ways. Those are very easy ways to do it. So we'd love to have you join us on that. But with that, why don't we thank our sponsors, Running Aces Casino, Racetrack, and Hotel, website AMP. Okay, there's the music. I saw Jim dancing, but I didn't hear the music till now. But thank you, Mark Prashant, website AMP. Great stuff. We'll chat with you guys next time.